Welcome to Pink Radio with Prestige. This is the place for you, the diva boss entrepreneur who needs quick tips on building your crave-worthy brand. This is your host, Nicole Doss, CEO of the Prestige Society, a membership organization for women entrepreneurs who believe in building powerful networks while slanging in their industries. So I want you to go ahead and grab your favorite cup of coffee and get your favorite tips right here with Prestige. Hey, girl bosses. You know what? I hope you are all having a wonderful, awesome, and blessed day. I am so happy that you have joined us for another episode of Pink Radio with Prestige. Today, we are going to talk about our Pro Fresh series, all about the importance of being professional in the girl boss world in a way that allows you to stay relevant to your customers and your clients, as well as showing the polished brand exterior and the well-oiled engine on the inside that's necessary for longevity with your brand. But before we get started, I wanted to tell you about this week's sponsor for the episode. One of my favorite girl bosses owns this particular salon. And so this episode is brought to you by Omni Tresses Hair Salon. So I love this salon. They're actually one of the examples that I'll be using today when we talk about our Pro Fresh series. And so what I love about this salon is that they offer wide ranges of hair care, from anything that is short and sassy. So for those of you who knew when I had my hair cut in the pixie cut last year, every 2 weeks I go to Omni Tresses, as well as natural styles to micro links, all the way down to locks and any other kind of hairstyle you can think of. I love their beautiful ambiance. It is what every girl boss needs, because you need to be able to treat yourself. And what I really love too is the knowledge and the customer service that you get at this particular salon. So here's the deal. For my listeners, if you want to be able to check out Omni Tresses Salon, it's in Pennsauken, New Jersey. Go to their site, omnitresses.com, make your appointment, and when you get there, I want you to give them the code Pink Radio, and they will bless you with 10% off of your service. So once again, go to omnitresses.com. I'll put the link in the episode information so you can get that right. And you let them know Pink Radio sent you. So tell them the code Pink Radio, and they'll give you 10% off of your service. All right. So with that, we're going to jump right into our episode. So guys, you're probably thinking like, why in the heck am I coming up with this Pro Fresh series? Well, I'm going to tell you. I don't know if many of you understand the importance of showing up professionally in all that you do. I don't know if you understand the impact that it has on your clientele. It also impacts the level of clientele that you attract, as well as allows you to have some credibility with your clientele as well. And of course, we're going to get into all of these things and why this is the case. So just bear with me. It has been a very long week, although it's only Tuesday. That's right. Busy. I have been dealing with some sad news. Our retreat that we were doing, found out that the fleet of ships that Royal Caribbean was using has actually canceled our trip to Mexico because of the travel ban from Donald Trump. So I will be doing a little video on that, just letting you guys know that the trip has been canceled, not by us, but by Royal Caribbean. And in our effort to find another trip that's worth your while, I was getting a little frustrated, so I took a little time out. and we will be back on. There are options, but the options are sooner, so that doesn't give you enough time to pay or give your wallet enough time to pay. And I want to make sure that we give you ladies enough time. And because the travel ban starts in February and our trip was actually slated for February, we're finding that things are happening either right before February or it's happening in 2021. So it's like kind of crazy out there. So we will find something and we will get over this travel ban. But I am definitely in this space where I'm like really exhausted and tired in dealing with all these decisions and challenges and obstacles. But nonetheless, I really wanted to share with you guys this message for today around the need for showing up professionally. And, you know, one of the things, like I was saying, when I think of professionalism, you know, I think of so many different dynamics, from your branding to the business acumen that you exercise or even exude, where you understand processes, standard operating procedures for your business, where you're able to map out end-to-end processes with your business so that they're sustainable and repeatable, where you understand your industry and where the industry is going and how you can help impact your industry. It's really being that subject matter expert in your field. It's really about taking care and making sure that you are providing the best level of service to your customer, because you understand the need of the customer, because you've done things like market research, you're constantly learning. I mean, there's a number of things that I think about. I think about you having systems put in place that make it very easy for your clients to work with you, buy from you, interact with you. I think of just a very well-oiled machine, you know, it's one that just runs really well, but at the same time looks pristine as well. And so I don't know if a lot of people take a lot of pride in their business. I think what they take pride in is being an entrepreneur, and there's a difference. So let me explain to you what I mean by that. I don't think people take pride in the art of running a business. But I do believe that they take pride and in boasting that they're an entrepreneur, that they have their own business, that they have the ability to possibly make this, you know, crazy amount of money and have this abundant lifestyle, this freedom in their lifestyle to be able to do what they want on their own terms because they are an entrepreneur. And completely missing that there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like, entrepreneur isn't just this title where it just automatically, because you wear the title of entrepreneur or because you wear the title of CEO, that just out of nowhere you just become this millionaire. Like, let's just be frank. That doesn't happen in any job whatsoever. You can't just all of a sudden have, like, let's just, you know, bring this to like our 9-to-5s. You can't just get a title of accountant and work in, you know, a company and not do a single thing and think that you're going to remain employed. You can't even be the title of a janitor and not do a single thing, not empty a trash can, not sweep a floor, just sit there and believe that you're going to continue to stay employed as a janitor. So if you can't do that on all these other levels, working for other people, you got to understand that being a CEO doesn't mean you just wear this title of CEO and now all of a sudden you're just, you know, an influencer and all these, you know, very Instagram trendy things that you think are important, but really are not when it comes to standing up longevity and credibility for your business and your brand. So when I talk about professionalism, although some of you may be like, ugh, I don't want to hear about this. This isn't going to give me, you know, the gems that I need to make 6 figures with my brand. I beg to differ. You know, if you think it's not something that can be easily Instagrammable, I'm going to tell you to grow up. right? Because, when you sit amongst millionaires, 9 times out of 10, they're not even on Instagram. And I'm not talking about people who've made it through social media influencing. I'm talking about people who built systems and businesses and actually created ways for them to generate multiple streams of income. I literally have one of my members, who's the president of the Philadelphia chapter. She took a class with Goldman Sachs, and it was a program, and I want to say it was called 10K SB, so it was like 10,000 small businesses. And she said everyone that was there was a millionaire, and not one of them had social media. When I think of the African American Chamber of Commerce, and where I sit amongst these, older, seasoned entrepreneurs who are so amazing, and they're like talking about contracts and talking about the importance of us not being solopreneurs but standing up businesses where we have the ability to change the social economics in our communities so that we are offering jobs and opportunities within our communities. It's like you realize it is so much bigger than just the Instagrammable moment. So that's what I mean by grow up, right? Get a little entrepreneurial maturity here to understand that when you are building a business that is so much more than the highlight reels that you're seeing on people's timelines. And so this is why we're having a conversation around professionalism, because some of you don't understand that you aren't communicating effectively with your clientele. Some of you don't understand that when you are putting in front of people your opportunities, or when you're putting in front of people the business that you're doing, or when you're putting in front of people an opportunity for them to work alongside you, you are not showing up as a business, but you're showing up as your personal self. And it's hard for people to separate the two. Some of you don't realize that when you are operating as a business and you're sending someone a PayPal Me link to get payment, that you are not a business owner. You are someone with a hobby asking for a donation. Now that's different than the PayPal business point of sale platform. I'm talking about the personal PayPal Me with your face on it. Like you want to send somebody a cash app and say, here, just give me this. When that becomes the only way that people are able to pay you, that's a problem, because you're not showing up as a business. Because at the end of the day, when you went to Macy's to buy your shoes, the person behind the cash register didn't pull out her phone and say, well, can you cash at Macy's? When you wanted to email a complaint to the hotel that you just stayed at, or maybe ask them about some other, maybe you needed a reward or something for something that you felt like I'm a Hilton Honors member. I'm always looking for other points and rewards. You didn't send it to a Hilton@gmail.com. And if you did, I'm sure you would be like, well, what type of janky hotel business is this? When you go and you spend your money at Louis Vuitton or Gucci, I'll even say Coach, Michael Kors, I'm sure that you're looking for top-notch service because you are giving your money to these high-end luxury brands. And so the expectation is that there's excellence in customer service, but yet you haven't even thought about your service level agreements and how you are interacting with your clients or your customers. So if you haven't even taken the time to map this out, then who's taking you seriously as a business? And what's so funny to me is when everyone gets mad, listen, y'all, listen. If this is you and you fall in this area, this commentary, this episode is not to berate you. It's not to make you feel little. It's not to make you feel lesser than. It is to open your eyes and to help you understand why you have to step it up. And what I was getting ready to say before I stopped is the reason why you have to do this is because up until now, up until this very point, you've been placing the measure of your success externally. You've been blaming, the reason why you are not successful on external factors. It's because your family and your friends don't support you. It's because Black and brown people don't support one another. It's because you feel that maybe people aren't ready for you. Maybe you feel that, I don't have a level of clientele that will get me to the next level. Guess what? All of that is horse, you know what? It's straight manure. It is bull. Because at the end of the day, none of that matters. At the end of the day, the question isn't about, honestly, let me just be 110% transparent with you. There is no win if your mom buys your product. It is not a win when your sister buys your product. It is a win when that person who has never met you a day in their life looks at your products and believes that it is of such value that they want to reach into their bags or their wallets or their purses and grab out their money that they worked so hard for every single day and spend that money with your brand. That's a win. That's a win. So for you to say you aren't successful, because trust me, there are people out there who think they're not successful because their friends and family do not support them. Then what are you doing to make sure that you're reaching your ideal client? Because how do you even know that your friends and your family are your demographic for your client or your market base? You probably haven't even done the work. You probably don't even know the profile. Maybe it's too broad. So these are the reasons why I want you to understand the importance of you having a professional sense, a professional brand, just exuding professionalism, period. It's a necessity. You are a business owner, which means that if you think of it in the context of really owning and standing up a business, then it means that you are a CEO that will one day be a CEO with a C-suite. What does that mean? I'll give you a quick lesson. A C-suite is a suite of chiefs. So although you may be the chief executive officer, which is the acronym for CEO, you will one day need a chief operating officer, also known as a COO. You will need a chief financial officer, also known as the CFO. Now, of course, there's other chiefs as well. Sometimes you have a CIO, which is your chief of information technology officer, or you may want to have a CLO, which is your chief learning officer. There's tons of chiefs. Most organizations have all types of people in their C-suite. And from there, you'll have senior level leaders. And those senior level leaders will have departments that they run, multiple departments. Those senior level leaders will actually run divisions or business units. Those business units will also have leaders that will run individual departments. Those individual departments will help run your company. But you have to know where to start. And you cannot start with your Gmail. You can't start with this inconsistent way that you give service to your clientele. It can't grow by you treating clients as if they're a diamond, a dozen. You have to understand the elements, the dynamics, the variables that it takes to build your business. So, because we're starting with the solopreneur, I'll go ahead and run a few things your way that I think you should really think about, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do or talk about is knowing your stuff. So what do I mean by that? So usually whenever I think about a business and why businesses win other business. So, when I think of that, I mean like contracts you may have. So usually bid for a contract. And so when you're bidding and then you win the bid, so you're winning business. So when I think about when you win business, when you're able to get a certain clientele, whether that's a B2B relationship or a B2C relationship. So B2B is your business to business versus your business to customer. One of the things that I definitely think of when it comes to those larger entities is that they are industry leaders. So when you think of Nike, they are an industry leader in sports and athletic apparel. When I think about Apple, they are an industry leader in creating beautiful technology for those who are into design, right? So they're not really like your tech guys who are like building PCs because they like PCs. They don't really care for Macs. But Macs are like for your graphic designers. They're for your directors who like to do things in like Final Cut Pro. Like they're for your more creative types, right? And they're an industry leader. Anyone who loves to design has a Mac. You'll find it. Okay, great. Industry leaders. So when we talk about what you do as a solopreneur, you must know your stuff. That allows you to begin to position yourself as an industry leader. So there are some ways that you can do this. You may write a book on a topic. You may speak on a panel. You may be a keynote speaker. You may be a resident blogger or write an article for a publication as this person who is a subject matter expert. When we think about it in the space of standing up the business and not just you as the person behind the brand, but when we think about the business being an industry leader, that means that those who are part of your leadership team, and if you're a solopreneur, if it's just you, you must understand the industry. You must be a student of the industry. You must understand where the industry is trending, how it impacts your target demographic, and how you can get ahead of the game and be proactive in creating solutions that are impacting your particular industry and not just being reactive, but puts you behind the ball. Know your stuff. And when you are a solopreneur, it's not even just knowing your stuff when it comes to your industry. You have to understand business acumen. You have to understand things like knowing your P&L. I love this example. One of the things I thought was really interesting. So everyone that knows me knows that I work for a family business that generates $2.7 billion in revenue in 2018. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting when we started looking at all their because I run a team called the startup team, and our job is to start new businesses or help convert existing business. And one of the things that my VP has charged us with was to be able to make businesses profitable within 30 days. Actually, he wanted us to do it with as day one through user adoption, through the speed of user adoption. So we focus on a number of things. On from the people side, so training and development, as well as change management and innovation and technology. And so I was on a call, and one of the things I thought was really interesting was looking at how some of these contracts that we had looked great when we talked about revenue. I mean, you're talking about a company that makes $2.7 billion a year. There's definitely this space where you know that there's some serious contracts that are coming in. The interesting thing was that although the revenue was beyond phenomenal, the margin was surprising. And a lot of times we as entrepreneurs don't understand how, although the money that's coming in looks really great, that money that's going out is horrible and sucking us dry, bleeding the company. What are you doing from a business acumen to make sure that you have that information? How do you know you're financially viable? How do you even track that without your accountant or use of some tools such as FreshBooks or QuickBooks? So when I say know your stuff, I don't just mean know your stuff from a standpoint of know your stuff just in your industry. You need to know your stuff as the CEO of your company. You have to understand, especially if you're a solopreneur, you have to have a sales team, a marketing team. Oh, this is you, by the way. Sales team, marketing team, an HR team. You need to have research and development team. You need the sky's the limit. Communications team. I mean, you need to really be well versed in all these areas. And when it's time for you to scale up, you will know just how to do it and when to do it. All right. So that was number 1. Know your stuff. Number 2, exude excellence in customer service. So let me tell you about my thought on that. I have a customer service spirit. I know I do because of the jobs that I've held in the past. So when I was in college, I was a waitress, and I was so great at being a waitress that I was a waitress trainer. And so I used to work for Applebee's in college, and there was something about giving the best service to my customers that made me just feel so happy. And of course I had the tips to prove it, I could pay my car note in just one night. And I was just working at Applebee's. So I really did enjoy being able to provide a service to others. And I realized I have a spirit of providing service. And some of you guys don't have a service provider spirit, but yet you created a business where that's the expectation. And so really ask yourself, if providing a service is something that's hard for you, if you're not a people person, if you're not big on connecting with people or building relationships, you're going to have to find someone who's really gifted in that area while maybe you do the work in the back end. But definitely you want to be able to create service levels that are bar none. And what that begins to do for you is that it separates you from the rest. Mediocrity is something that is expected from everyone. If you have a subpar experience, you kind of almost expect it, unless you're high maintenance, because there are some of you out there that are like, I don't expect anything but the best. But some people are just like, it was all right. It wasn't really, really great. It wasn't that bad, but it was all right. So, that's the expectation. And when that becomes the expectation, it really just makes it so that you're not that memorable. Which means that if I use you today or use someone else tomorrow, it makes me no never mind. But when you experience exceptional service, you don't want to use anyone else. So I'm going to use our episode sponsor as an example for number 2. So Omnitresses, based out of Pensacola, New Jersey, is owned and ran by this awesome stylist by the name of Sierra Desper. And the one thing that I love about Sierra's salon, number 1, is the ambiance. So as a consumer, as a client coming in, the first thing is that when I walk in, it's such a happy space. I love being in that space. It's beautiful. It's chic. It's the design was well thought out. And then when you walk in, the first thing they ask is hey, do you want, do you want water, coffee, or tea? And if it's in the evening time, she'll even ask me if I want red or white wine. When I tell you my happy place, my happy place. Now, Sierra sets an expectation around excellence in customer service. So the first thing that she does is she created for herself systems that allow her to be able to give you a service that's timely. So what do I mean by that? So for those of you who are not African American, I'm going to give you a little bit of a lesson on what us girls go through that are of the African American community. So, usually if you go to the salon, it'll take you about 5 hours. Like, you sit and you sit and you sit, and then when you just think you can't sit anymore, that is when your stylist will take you and then start the process of doing your hair. And in between phases of washing and shampooing and blow drying and styling, you are also sitting at each stage. Why? Because they have double booked or triple booked themselves. And a lot is because some of them really use either the old system of writing things in the book, or meaning like, that paper book where they write in time slots, or they don't funnel all of their clientele through their online scheduler. So therefore, they literally have double or triple books for themselves because some people are booked outside of the system while others are funneled through the actual online scheduler. With Sierra, everyone goes to our website, everyone goes to the online scheduler, and because everyone goes to the online scheduler, the scheduler gives everyone their own times of when they're supposed to show up. I very rarely ever have to sit and wait to be seen. And when I do, it's because I thought I put myself to the scheduler and I didn't, and because she's a doll, she sees me anyway, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But other than that, like, when I've done my due diligence and I actually am through the scheduler, I come in and I get waited on immediately. And she never wants anyone waiting too long at any one station. So if I'm sitting there and my hair is getting done, she's like, Nicole's at station, blah, blah, blah. She needs to come over to this chair. Can you please blow dry her? So she runs a really tight ship. And what that does for me, it makes me feel like she cares that my time is precious. And so not only that, she talks me through the hairstyle I'm getting, what do I want to get done, and her team. Oh my gosh, it's like phenomenal. I can remember to this day. She has a stylist by the name of Claudia Thornton, who also is the founder of Locked and Loaded. And she has her wonderful brand of Locked and Loaded, where she focuses more on natural hair care. And so Claudia was was washing my hair, but she heard me tell Sierra how my head was bothering me. And I was like, got the biggest migraine. So Claudia hears me saying this to Sierra. Sierra asks Claudia if she can wash my hair. All of a sudden, I get the most awesome head massage. I'm like, ooh, this is what I needed. And Claudia literally says, that's because I heard you had a headache. Why is this important? This is important because she heard a need that the customer had and literally figured out, how can I make this better for the client? That's a level of care for the client, especially from an employee stand-based. Like, girl, listen, that is phenomenal. Now, let me tell you why this is huge and why I'm making a big deal about this. Because of the level of customer service that I get, because of the ambiance that I'm in, because of how I feel when I leave there, I literally left a salon that was closer to my home and where I was paying less money. So that means I drive further and pay more. Is that crazy? No, you probably think that's crazy. Isn't it crazy? But guess what? If Sierra told me she closed her doors today, I would stalk her and find out where she lives and would just go to her house and get my hair done, because now I'm addicted. Now I could never imagine going anywhere else. This is what providing excellence in customer care, providing excellence in customer service. This is why it is so important. And for those of you who don't have a service provider mind or a service spirit, then that is why you need to be able to get someone on your team who does. And then you just need to be in the back end creating the solutions and just putting out the work and letting that person be the face of your company. Because at the end of the day, baby, when you can create that, you will have a tribe of people who will never want to leave your side. So, and what's so funny about it is that people really do discount excellence in customer care. I remember when we were first rebranding and we had a new website. We were just, we went from Prestige Networking Group to the Prestige Society. And I remember telling the young girl who was a millennial, and I was working on an ebook because she thought, oh, we should do an ebook and offer it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, great. So I remember saying, oh, I want to do like the Divapreneur white glove service and, you know, the importance of this high-end customer care and how this helps move you into being more of a luxury brand. And I remember she was like, yeah, that's not sexy enough. And I remember thinking to myself, that's the problem. Like, they're the people who pay your bills. How can an ebook on helping people understand how to retain and keep clientele, how is that not sexy? My goodness. So I realized that that's something that's not Instagrammable, not trendy, but I'm telling you right now, if you want people to be able to see value in what you're providing as a service, you gotta step up the game in what you're doing as a service provider. Now, number 3, it's all about getting your systems in place. Now, I love my girl, Davita Garfield. If you haven't heard of Davita Garfield, please look her up. What I love about Davita is that she is the systems queen. But what I love about this is that this is something I first learned when I worked at American Water under Darlene Williams. You know, I always talk about her, love her to death. One of the things that I thought was really awesome is that she always said to me, do not make it difficult for people to work with you. And that's so key. You know, when I think of people who give me 8 steps of, you know, how I can go from viewing a product to then actually purchasing a product, when it becomes so convoluted, when it becomes so cumbersome, when it becomes so murky, I lose interest. I no longer want to buy from you. If I have to send you an email about the product that I want and then send you, you know, you send me an invoice, I have to wait for the invoice, and then you're going to go ahead and I got to send you the money through this invoice, and then maybe I'll get the product 3 weeks later. No longer interested. That's why I can't stand buying from Etsy. If somebody don't send me something via Prime, listen, y'all Etsy folks, y'all about to lose all y'all business because, baby, Prime sends something to me within 1 day, and you want to send something to me in 3 weeks. Goodbye. But in all honesty, you know, you have to get your systems in place. How easy for me, from a coaching standpoint, I hated the system I had in place for tracking goals. Now I'm all up in my clients' dashboards. Why? Because I had to find a software that would give me access to my clients where I could see something on a dashboard that I could see them all at once and not go into these individual pages to see how they were doing. I mean, it was just like, it's so much easier. And then when they send me messages through it, I get notifications straight through my phone as if it's a text. So it's just everything is easy for them to work with me. It's easy for me to communicate with them. And this is what helps me put things in place. So systems, the point of systems is to make it absolutely easy for your client to go from being the person who is looking through your site to actually buying from you. And if it's so hard, if it's so convoluted in any of the steps at all, guess what happens? They're not gonna work with you at all. At all. So really think about, and this is in everything that you do. If you're sending out, let's say, email marketing, and if you want to gather responses from a group of people in your email list, let's just say you ask them to email you back, or can you email me back and send a response? You just lost half the people who were going to respond. Nobody wants to do that. Now, click a button for yes versus no, so much easier. Embed a poll in there. Why? It makes it easier for people to respond. You want someone to hit the reply button and then type out a whole email to you, they're not going to do it. Why? Because they know it's an email marketing email, first of all. And second of all, it's extra work. People are so busy, they don't have time for it. And if they don't have time to do those extra steps, they're not going to do it. Every time you add an additional step to the process other than getting people to buy, you are lessening the chance of them buying from you. I'll say that again because I know that was just a gem. I need a gem bell. Do I have a gem bell? Let's see what this bell does. No, not a gem bell. That was like sound the alarm. School's in session. I'm going to find me some sound bites so I can use them. But that's a gem bell. That was a gem. So here's the gem. Now I forgot the gem because I'm so concerned with trying to find a little bell. Isn't that horrible, guys? This is what happens when you're about to hit 40 because I'm about to be there. You forget. But anyway, you can hit rewind and see. So, guys, I share all this with you. Those are the 3 different tools. I'm so upset I forgot that last gem. See, the gems come, but the gems go. You don't even know how upset I am. But I share all this to say, being professional in your business is absolutely important in all that you do. This is going to be your opportunity for you to set yourself apart from everyone else who is in your industry. How awesome is that? So I want you to go ahead and remember those 3 awesome tips that I just gave you. Number 1, I remembered the gem, by the way. Every time you add an additional step to getting someone from viewing the product to buying, you are lessening the chance of them to buy. I just had to say it again. So here you guys go. Number 1, know your stuff. Know your stuff in your industry. Know your stuff as well as your business acumen. You're not just the person doing the work, but you're also a CEO of a thriving business. Number 2, exude excellence in customer service. Why? Because when you treat your clients like the diamonds that they are, they will have a sense of loyalty that is unmatched. All right? And number 3, get your systems in place, please. Make it a smooth, seamless process because once again, what did we find out today? We found out that the more steps you add to the process from the time they view the product or service to the time they need to buy, you are lessening the chance for them to do just that, to buy from you. So we want to make sure that you have great conversion rates and that you are getting all of your coins. All right, guys? So with that, I hope you have an awesome, wonderful, and best of all, blessed day. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, guys. Before we wrap up, what I wanted to share with you is that if you have not grabbed your version or copy of Tribe, please grab it now. This book is going to help you understand the importance of building membership economies with your brand. One-time customer transactions is an antiquated business model. But for you, it's important for you to understand how to build monthly subscriptions with your brand. Whether you have content, service, or products, you understand by reading this book how to build your tribe. Grab your copy now at theprestigesociety.com or on Amazon. Bye.